back and coming back with exciting conversations, with exciting people who are doing great things out there. If I haven't seen you this year, Happy New Year. I will say Happy New Year to everyone I haven't seen until, even if it's November, I'm still going to be saying it because I haven't seen you in a year. But a lot of people are like, guys, please stop it now. So compliments. I hope your vision boards are up and running. You're ready to start the year in an exciting vibe. Today's session is going to help you a bit on your journey as you are preparing to start your new year, new resolutions, everything that you are planning to do. Today we are chatting on all things self-development, self-accountability, you just being responsible for yourself, and we're going to give you some few tools on how to do that. And obviously I'm not going to give you all of those tools by myself. I am joined by my beautiful young guest. She is levels, guys. When I say levels, you are going to understand why I'm saying that. Her name is Claudia, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about herself. She is a self-development coach. You know what I'm saying? We have professionals doing this for us. So if you need any advice and any knowledge when it comes to self-development, she is the person to get in touch with. A young businesswoman. Claudia, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to join you in the show.
Thank you for coming. Like, we attended one of Claudia's self-development classes on, I think it was last week Friday. She had one last week Friday, and I was just sitting there like, wow, this is so amazing to see a young woman doing great things and just taking us through her own journey. And in her own journey, she gets to help us as well in our journey. So please tell us, who is Claudia? What is she about? I love your surname, so you better tell us. Boana is her surname. When I heard it in front of me, I was like, okay, exotic. So please tell us who you are and what you're about.
All right, my name is Claudia Boana. I am from Eswatini, a tiny country next to South Africa, a landlocked country, and I just finished my undergrad in agricultural economics and agribusiness management, and I'm all about wellness, hence the change from agriculture to wellness. Yeah, because I'm all about self-development, I'm all about mental health, I'm all about self-awareness, those are my pillars basically. Yeah, and I realized that at the end of the day, as humanity, our problems really, they boil down to one thing. How do we think of the world? How do we feel about ourselves? How do we feel about our relationships? And I just saw this gap, that's why I started my own journey, because I just saw this gap around my peers, around the younger ones, around the older ones, and I said, therapy looks like a luxurious thing, but it's a necessity. It's a necessity, and I want to try and close that gap as much as I can.
A lot of people, when they hear therapy, they're already thinking, mental health. My mental is not straight. So I like what you are saying, that it is a necessity. You don't need to be diagnosed with any mental issue or illness, if I may put it like that, for you to consider therapy. So you're saying all day, every day, anyone, if you feel like you are in need of that kind of support, you can go and get it.
Exactly. Back in the day, there used to be, in Greek philosophy, there used to be people who were called philosophers of life. So when people were confused about life, they'd go to those people, ask for directions, ask for advice, and then they'd be okay. But in our day and age, we barely have that. Even kids who have parents spend most of their time at work, and they're always at school. And sometimes you have these questions, and your friends are not going to have them, so we need those people. We need those people, and therapy is kind of expensive. But what I realized is that sometimes all you need is just that support for you to be able to talk to someone, have someone who listens to you, who cares, and then from there, with each other's help, we're able to move on
to
and thrive
move
in life.
on. I love what you were saying. Back in the day, they were actually called philosophers of life.
Yeah.
And now that the name has been changed to therapist, and all of a sudden we all like,
Yeah, people are like, no, I'm
mental.
not sick in the head.
It's not that, guys. I feel like in every sphere and stage in your life, you do need support. Whether it's from your parents, like you mentioned, your peers, mentors, if you have mentors, and therapists who are philosophers of life. Use that word if you're not happy with therapist, and then it will make sense. You do need support one way or another, and I feel like having that support structure, it helps in your self-development journey. Now we're coming to self-development. What are the fundamental aspects you will say these are the things that make up a healthy person, a healthy developing person? Because I know that with any kind of development, there's different kind of stages. We're growing, we're evolving, and my needs from a couple of years back in terms of my own personal journey, developing myself, are different now. So what are the fundamental stages and steps where you listen, this is the whole package of self-development?
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Mpewa. It's actually a good question. I realize that for a lot of people, when you talk about self-development, the first thing that they're going to ask about is about a career, and this just makes you realize how much people have forgotten about themselves.
That I was about to ask, what is career in self-development?
Yeah, and do you remember that you are a social creature before it comes to your career? Do you remember that you're an emotional person before it comes about your career? And in fact, what I've realized is that from what I center around the pillars of self-development, if they are so nourished and aligned, then you are bound to prosper even in your career. So with my journey and the individual sessions that I was able to have with people, I realized that people have to develop physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially.
5 guys. Let's say it again.
Physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and physically.
I think we started with physically.
We started with physically.
So it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally,
and socially.
Yes.
Thank you.
No career, no how much money I'm making. None of those things.
Yeah.
Those are not the aspects that make life.
Exactly, that make life. Exactly. And once these 5 are aligned, I'm telling you, there's no way you're not gonna know what you want to do in life. There's no way that you're not gonna prosper in whatever profession that you're in.
Okay. So it's not about developing what is out there before I can get to develop what is in here. Because from all these things that we are mentioning, that's what I'm hearing. That the journey of self-development is in the name. It's about you. You're developing yourself.
Exactly.
If physically, like you mentioned, you want to make some changes physically, it's a development phase of your physical journey that you want to get on. Emotionally, socially, all
mentally,
of them,
spiritually, exactly. And when you read most of those self-help books or from philosophers, or even I also read even on cognitive behavioral therapy, and you just realize that it's more of an intrinsic journey, and always your external life is going to be expressing your internal life. So, and including to the people that I've talked to, or even myself, I realized that even your own relationships are just a reflection of how you feel.
The kind of friendships that you get to have, your relationship stages. There's a lot of people who are so quick to say "Mjolo uyanisa." Oh my God, it's like a slang that everyone is always saying. But I like what you are saying. All your relationships are just a reflection of what's happening inside. Exactly. So the core foundation of your life is dealing with self. There's a very special lady in my life. She's my spiritual mother. We went to one of the events that she was speaking in the other day, and she was talking on relationships and her great relationship with her husband. And she said the only tip that I have for a great relationship with anyone is deal with yourself. If you are in an argument, instead of lashing out onto that person or the situation itself, deal with you. ask yourself, like, my tone, was it, did it not make the situation worse than it would have been? What is my part in all of it? I think now it comes down to self-development is very much in line with self-accountability. We need to start taking accountabilities on some of the things that are happening in our lives. If you feel like I'm not growing the way that I want to grow, what is your part in it?
That's true.
I'm not saying there aren't any external parts of it or situations or issues. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are out there that we cannot control, like load shedding, for example, but we are not there. There's so many things external that we can't control, but what we are saying today is most of those things are easily handled if you deal with self first, if you deal with what's happening in here first before you move on to tackling life out there. So for you as a young person, I'm not gonna tell you her age, guys. For you as a young person on your own personal journey, what would you say that for a lot of young people out there, what is it that they need to really understand this journey of self-development? I know when you are a young person, like, the world just becomes so big and there's so much going on. On Friday we were talking about our minds going crazy and not stopping. We're gonna get to that as well. So for young people, what do we need to do to get it right? Because I know for some people they feel like, maybe I'm too old, I've jumped that stage, I can't work on myself. You still can, but for young people who are fresh out of high school into varsity, or fresh out of varsity and throwing themselves out there in the world, what's the thing that you would say to them when it comes to their own self-development?
Thank you very much, and I'm glad you're even talking about those who are fresh out of high school going to university, because I like to target mostly on those. You know, you're just realizing how huge the world is and you're leaving home for the first time, you're trying to understand yourself, you're trying to fit in, a lot is happening, you're literally confused, and you're about to choose a career path that might channel you for the rest of your life. The first thing that I can say is that take life as if you are an actor in a movie, you know, and
I know some of us are thinking like that. I remember when I got out of school, in my head I was, acting somewhere.
and make yourself understand that you are the main character in your movie, you know, and always try to understand what role are you playing. Even if you talked about some things being external, realize what role can you play to be proactive. You know, if I can't control it, do I really need to worry about it? And then if there's something I can do about it, do I really need to worry, or I just need to act, you know, do something about it? Yeah. So for me, first of all, and you talked about accountability, and it's what worked for me. I started understanding that, you know, I'm responsible for the way I feel. I am responsible for how I act. So I might as well just be in control of that, you know, control, because I can control that. And all the things that I cannot control, I'm not going to pay attention to. And one of the things I liked that I read from Mark Manson is that you are the common denominator in every relationship that has failed in your life. Not meaning that you are responsible alone. Of course, it takes two to tango. So,
but you had some kind of part as well.
I had some kind of part as well, and I just applied it everywhere in my life. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to school, when it comes to anything, I always say I'm the common denominator if it fails. So what can I do to make it better? I'll always ask yourself, what role do I have to play in this?
Yeah. I love what you're saying. You literally are the common denominator in all of it. Because I'm thinking, if you look at career-wise, when you walk into an organization or a company, it's them and you. Through your own induction with them, maybe your interview and all of that, you are the common denominator. You go to varsity, your first class in varsity, common denominator. In a marriage relationship, you are there as well. Friendship relationship, you are there as well.
And you know, if all of those things, it's like when you keep losing jobs again and again, or always when there's a retrenchment, you're the first
First one to go.
Then I think you should come to a point whereby you ask yourself, why me? When all of your relationships just keep going down that same route, ask yourself, why? And the moment you come back inward, trust me, the answer is closer. Because if you leave it to all those things, how many people are you going to go after shouting, why is this not happening?
You blame everybody else but yourself. I'm like this because my parents didn't do this.
Oh
we
God.
know them, been there, done
that is the root of suffering, if I may say. That is the once you want to shift blame, root of suffering.
Yeah. Some of the pains and sufferings that we deal with are external, but once you shift the blame, once you shift the accountability to everybody else, that's the root to suffering.
Yeah.
I love that. I really love that. I love people who are good at taking ownership of, sometimes it's not even yours to take, but for your own journey, for your own growth, for your own self-development. If you take the ownership, you start learning about that situation and wanting to do better. Who's being developed in that situation? It's you. So at the end of the day, it's you who will benefit. You might be in a situation where you like, really, honestly, this was not me. Like, I am not the one to blame. But if you just say, you know what, I'm not the one to blame, but I'm gonna take the blame for the sake of my own self-development. What could I have done better? What could I do to change this? You are the one who's growing. Next time you have to deal with that situation, you will act better, do better. One of the things that I read, I can't remember the title of the book, but the author was saying that the way life is structured and the way God is working on our characters, He doesn't mind to let you go through the same thing over and over and over until you actually learn something from it and then grow from it, self-development, and then you can get out of it. So some of the circles that we keep finding ourselves in, going around and around, you're not learning what you're supposed to learn from it. You're not cultivating that strength that you have in you to get out of the situation or to deal with the situation. So until you actually apply yourself and learn from that situation, you're just gonna keep going around and around.
Actually, Robin Sharma says the same thing. In fact, there's an expression by Lao Tzu. He says that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So when you're not ready, like he said, it's gonna keep coming, and then you shift the blame. All right, it goes away. It comes back again. It means the student is still not ready and is not taking the lesson. But once they are ready, they're gonna learn, and then the teacher will go away. So, and after you've accomplished that, it doesn't mean that's the end. Something else is gonna come. So we're always, I normally say we are just a work in progress. Self-development is a continuous journey. It really doesn't end. You know, even when it comes to self-love, you can never say, oh, I love myself, because you keep on redefining what is self-love to you.
It's levels, guys. It's like a game on our phones. Level 1, level 2, level 3. You keep going, and the funny thing is, all these different levels come with different devils, and you're just sitting there like, I thought I was fine. There was a time when you were still in school and your only worry was, how the hell am I supposed to get into varsity?
Thank you.
You get into varsity, you realize that there's tutors, there's people that I need to sit in class and actually listen to them. There's exams, there's assignments. You graduate, you are living the dream, you're gone, things are going great, and then you need to get into the corporate world if that's the journey you want to take. So every level comes with different kinds of challenges, and you redefine, like you said, you redefine yourself in each and every level. So guys, what we are saying is, if you think you're gonna get to level 8 maybe and say, yeah, I'm fine, I'm okay, sorry, it's not gonna happen. Level 9 is coming. Level 10 is coming. The journey will stop when your heart stops.
Exactly.
So until your heart is still going, pumping,
it's a sign of life, actually, if these things just keep on coming. And that's why I said be an actor in your life, you know. And when the things come, be like, Okay. So now this is the next devil. Let's see
Okay,
how we
let's
deal
see
with it.
how we deal with it.
Yeah.
But also I'm loving in my, now we're taking spiritually, in my spiritual journey, is that the devil that comes, you are equipped to handle it. Whatever situation that you are finding yourself in, you need to believe that you have the strength and the ability to deal with it, because you can't be given a load that's too much for you to handle. We meet different kinds of people on the streets, and they're all dealing with different kind of things. And I believe that each person walking around, going through whatever situation they are going through, I wouldn't come into your life and take your problems, and I wouldn't want you to come take mine, because the strength that I have, I believe, is for my problems and my challenges, and I'm good enough, capable to overcome whatever I'm facing, same as you in your life as well. So whichever level you are moving into, you have the strength, you have the capability of making it through to the next level and surviving the level that you are on.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
That's what calms my mind, if I'm even able to calm it from running up and down. So whatever it is that you believe in, whatever it is that works for you, use that. What I like about all these different things is they have the same foundation. They have the same principles. You could be saying it in a different language, I could be saying it in another language, but when you look at the core principles, it's the same thing.
It is, you are right. And I like the fact that you use the word believe. That is so important. And you know, normally people, even some people start church because they feel like, they say church works, you know, let me try it. And once you go with that mentality, trust me, you started on the wrong foot. The main goal should actually believe in it, like for reals. You know, when I started my stoicism journey and, you know, doing meditations and affirmations, I didn't do it because I felt like it was going to solve my problems. I was really keen. I was really interested in practicing it and making it a part of my life. And because I made it a part of my life without doubt, I feel like it's working for me.
Exactly.
You know, so I think I also did mention it in my presentation that that's what I did even with relationships. Stop using things as a means to an end. You know, most people get into a relationship because I want to be loved, you know, they do things because I want to be seen, I want gifts. Now, that's not the way to go about it. Get in a relationship because you want to be there, you want your partner to be there as they are, you know. And also, when you give because you want to, because it's the right thing to do, not because you want anything in return. So the same even with your spirituality and everything else. Don't use it for bargaining, because when we were kids, you know, we do right things because we want our parents' approval. You're an adult now, don't use things for bargaining, but use them because it is right to do so, because you genuinely want to do it.
You genuinely want
and
to,
then it's going to work for you.
I love what you're saying, guys. I hope you're really hearing what she is saying. Not everything is for gain. You can't go around using everything, I'm going to do this because I'm going to gain this. You're not living your life like you're supposed to.
Really?
Not everything is for you to gain something from it. Some things just require you to be present and participate, and mainly relationships. If it's going to be about the gifts or just the company around you, it's going to frustrate you. That's where we say, that's where the problem comes from.
That is where the problem is, really. And, you know, growing up, you'd have a lot of people talk about, you know, if you want to keep a man, you have to do this. If you want to be happy in a relationship, you have to do this. And in my head, it never really felt right, because, okay, let's say if I want to keep a person in my life, even if it's a friend, you have to master all of these things. You don't have to do this, you have to do this. At some point, your personality is going to come out. You're going to get tired of acting, trying to do this and that. So it was about be yourself, be there. And if they can't take it, someone else is going to be able to take it.
Someone else is the one designed
to take
this. Yeah, because the faking it, really, at some point...
You're going to fake for how long?
like your true self is like, no man, I'm tired of doing this. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And then it painfully pushes out, and then things just go left quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
We've mentioned so many things. I hope you guys are hearing it. Now we're going to try and give you practical examples. We mentioned 5 aspects of self-development. If you could maybe give us practical, I mean like something that someone can say, after I've watched you guys, this is what I want to go and do. Developing yourself physically. What are the main aspects, even if it's 1 or 2,
Yeah.
that we can say, I can see it, I can touch it, this is what